train all along the spectrum of the force velocity curve. This is a very crude force velocity curve. Basically, we have high force, low velocity on one end and high velocity, low force on the other. So the reason that this curve exists is because basically this is what we're capable of doing as humans, right? We have things like sprints and quick jumps on one end, and we have really heavy lifting on the other. You can't lift your maximal weight super fast, right? And you can't move something really slow if it's really light. You can technically move something really slow if it's really light, but it's probably not providing as much adaptation as we would like, right? Or stimulus as we would like. So what we want to do is think about training along this curve during seasons of our training year, right? So if you're a power lifter, a lot of your time is going to be spent developing the technique and the capacity to move heavy loads, rather slowly, right? But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be implementing, and a lot of your training actually should probably be in this region where you're trying to move relatively heavy weights pretty fast. But you should also probably do some work that is more speed oriented, meaning like 30 to 80% range and moving it really fast for a small degree of reps and getting a good recovery in. This is beneficial from like a power training standpoint and just a health and capacity training standpoint. Like you can get more volume in at this type of work that can build a base for your heavy-ish training down the road. We also want to think about getting in some amount of sprinting and plyometric work in. Sprinting is an amazing way to develop rate of force development, which is basically being able to move something quick. We also learn to recruit more motor units, which can improve your ability to lift heavier weight. And it's literally a neurologic stimulus that you have to learn and can help benefit you in the strength department down the road, right? Also, this stuff, if you're a heavy lifting power lifter, it can be really difficult to train really heavy throughout the year. So actually having seasons where you have a little bit more of this type of stuff can keep you fitter, healthier, and able to appropriately train for longer, right? If you're somebody who's a sprinter or an athlete, you need to be working on your top end speed. You need to be working on your ability to jump and cut and do all those things that require you to quickly react. But you also should work on getting strong. And this includes lifting some heavy-ish loads for low amount of reps, right? Improving your ability to produce force maximally can benefit you down the road. You don't necessarily need to be doing a ton of this like all year round, but it can be really beneficial for your overall capacity. Being an athlete requires a lot of different capabilities. The strongest person does not always win, but being strong in combination with having a high degree of skill can be really advantageous, right? And then in the middle, we have all sorts of, moving heavy loads fast-ish, and then we have moving lighter loads, relatively even faster, right? Which can be beneficial from like creating a better stretch shortening cycle or learning to move in and out of positions. And there's just a lot of utility in training across this curve in various ways throughout the year, right? So think about this curve when you're starting to build your program, or just make sure that you are touching some of these pieces on a regular interval in your training. It's going to keep you healthier. It's going to keep your tendons and your joints and your muscles feeling better. It's going to keep you fresher because you're not just beating yourself down with one end of this spectrum, amongst a lot of other variables in our training. Finally, if you're somebody who's not particularly interested in powerlifting, or you're maybe not the young buck trying to be the most athletic anymore, still doing this type of training is beneficial because it's stuff we should be capable of, right? We should be capable of hopping and skipping and doing a few sprints. We should also be capable of jumping, rotating, moving something fast, moving something slow, moving something heavy. We should be able to do all those things as a human in various capacities based on our prior history and our goals. So train along the whole force velocity curve. If you found this helpful, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I appreciate you.